right, hi, my name is Isis Grills. Some people call me Ice. Other people call me Iris when they're not paying attention to the letters in my name and they just rush and read my name off at Starbucks or Coffee Bean. No big deal. But anyway, I'm usually, a very lighthearted, comedic type of gal. I love to laugh. I love to make other people laugh. I love to joke around. I get most of my personality from my father, who this video is actually about. My father, Garrett Grills, was diagnosed 7 years ago roughly with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, also known as ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. And this video is really just about my experience as his daughter, as the one who truly looks up to him in every form or fashion. My experience watching the toll that this has taken on him throughout the years. ALS is most commonly known as Lou Gehrig's disease. And a lot of people learned about what it was after the ice bucket challenge that took place in 2014, and actually it was a challenge that went viral. But yeah, that's when it was first on the scene in a more major way, where more people were talking about ALS. So first of all, I think it's important to state all the things I love about my dad and why I'm such a daddy's girl. My dad is the most fun-loving, gentle giant of a person that you ever want to meet. He's the guy who has the joke at the right moment in time that you just needed to get that laugh out, to get that anger or frustration you might be feeling cast aside so that you can just have a moment of enjoyment. He's like a cold glass of water on a hot day in a desert. Like, that's who my dad is, and he's always been that. He was the guy who was the first in line to pick up his kids from school. He was the loudest cheerleader in the stands at all the sporting events. He was, the one that went out of his way to make sure you had everything you needed, whether you were his kid or not. He even was a father figure to some of my cousins that needed it at certain points in their lives. And he's Barney. He's that guy. So it's important to explain what my dad means to me. I first learned of my father's diagnosis with ALS 7 years ago, roughly. I was a junior in college at that time at Loyola Marymount University. I can actually remember the exact day, the moment, the hour that I got my dad's phone call telling me about being diagnosed with this disease. I took a 15-minute from work, went to the restroom, was listening to my dad, waiting for him to tell me what was going on with him, like what the doctors said. And that's when he told me that the doctors confirmed that he actually had Lou Gehrig's disease. I remember there being a long moment of silence on the phone. I remember listening to my dad break down and start to cry. And I told myself, don't cry, it's gonna be all right. Like, maybe this is wrong, maybe we need another opinion. And then he's like, no, it's real. I have ALS, I have Lou Gehrig's disease. And I just remember the sound of him crying on the other end of the phone, and I couldn't help it. From there, I just broke down as well. I'll never forget that day, ever. And she called this morning, and she's supposed to be scheduling an appointment for my dad to go in to see the IR to get the tube unclogged tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Yeah, but she really hasn't called back yet for an appointment, so we're just waiting on that.
Okay. Is it just to unclog, or they will?
The impact of living with someone with ALS it affects every aspect of my life as much as it affects every aspect of my father's life as well. Living with someone with ALS it's both rewarding and also very exhausting in a lot of ways as well, because essentially living with someone with ALS means the family, the caretakers, the friends that come by and help, you essentially become extensions of the limbs that person no longer has use of. So everything that they can no longer do for themselves, which is literally everything, because ALS is a muscle deficiency disease that attacks and whittles away every muscle in your body. Your arms, the muscles in your legs, the muscles in your tongue even, everything gets affected. And essentially the people that live with you, they get to become all the muscles that you no longer have. And so in my experience with my father, you know, everything he needs from, you know, pick up that cup of water and allow me to drink from it, or take me to the restroom, or I need to change my shirt because I, you know, accidentally drooled all over it. You know, things like of that nature are now things that his family, myself, being his daughter, his friends, we all take up and, you know, take care of him in the ways that he is no longer able to take care of himself. So there is no aspect of my life personally, because I can truly only speak for myself, that isn't affected by my dad's illness. I can't, for instance, walk out of the door and feel 100% safe that my dad's okay, because I'm always worried, you know, what if he falls while I'm gone? Or what if he chokes on a cracker while I'm gone? Or what if, you know, the person who's taking care of him falls asleep? Or it's just the things that go through your mind when you live with someone with ALS. It's just never ending, and it's constant worry and fear that something is going to happen to your loved one. Get him laughing, please. It's a rare occasion.
Every fucking time.
Another major challenge of living with someone with ALS, especially someone you love as dearly as I love my father, is you don't realize it, but your tongue is a muscle, as I may have mentioned, and your tongue is also a muscle that begins to die off with this illness. So obviously that makes communication very difficult, because we need our tongue to talk and to speak clearly. And my father is no longer able to speak clearly because his tongue is now affected by Lou Gehrig's disease, by his illness. So making clear sentences is a big issue. Communication is a big issue. He gets frustrated when we don't understand what he's saying, and vice versa. You know, I get frustrated, or someone else who's trying to understand him or talk. We can all get frustrated at times because we want to understand what he's saying. We want to help him. We want to be there for him. And the biggest thing is we want to alleviate him from the pain that he feels. But the idea that there's nothing I or anyone else can physically do to alleviate the pain is the hardest part. And that's what makes communication so challenging. One of the things I miss the most are our conversations. My dad's that guy that I went to first whenever I had a problem, whenever I had an issue, whenever I was confused about anything at all. And I selfishly try to make him talk more a lot of times, and he's just like, I can't give you what I used to give you. And that's painful, because I see in his eyes that he's fighting and he wants to have that conversation with me like we used to have, but he physically is unable to. And I think knowing that there's nothing I can physically do to make it easier for him is the hardest part of it all. And not having his advice first anymore, and having to, you know, resort to just going to myself or others, you know, which I don't want to put other people down, but no one quite picked me up the way my dad has picked me up through the years in his conversations. So it is very tough not being able to communicate with him as I once was able to. Another thing I miss is one of the things Dad and I used to do a lot was we would go on these long drives. He'd say, okay, Ice, come on, let's take a ride. And I'd be like, yeah, all right, Dad, let's go. And I mean, we could be going to Ralph's, and it would be exciting, you know, just being in his presence it didn't matter where our destination was. All that mattered was that we were together. One of the biggest lessons a person can derive from living with someone who has ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease, is just be grateful. Being grateful for the little things. Most of us, and I can really truly speak for myself, we go through our lives complaining about things that are really minuscule, not very important. A lot of us wake up on the wrong side of the bed because, we're not where we want to be in our lives yet. We haven't achieved our big dreams. We're not P. Diddy. We're not Beyonce. So a lot of us walk around feeling like less than because we're not where we want to be with our careers. How about just waking up and being able to get yourself out of bed and put your clothes on for yourself? That's something my dad no longer can do. And it's put a lot into perspective for me. It makes me realize how much we as people, and myself mainly, we walk around ungrateful for the things that we have and for the things that we're able to do and for the fact that we don't have to wait on somebody to do them for us. These are all things my dad experiences on a daily basis. And sometimes I'll be out with friends or I'll be out with, a colleague, and they'll complain about something. And I'm thinking to myself, really? Is this what you're complaining about today? Because they don't, and I don't blame them because they don't know my experience and I don't know theirs. But I can say from where I'm sitting, everyone around me who's able to do for themselves, able to walk and talk and grab their own glass of water and drink it, they're blessed. Everyone around me I see as blessed. And it's because of the experience I have at home that I'm able to put life in perspective. If you're not where you want to be right now, if you're not in the career of your dreams right now, okay. As long as you're living, breathing, walking, talking, able to do for yourself, there's still a chance to get where you want to be. Yeah. What were you saying? So I just want to say thank you sincerely from the bottom of my heart for listening to my story and for allowing me the chance to tell you a thing or two that I've learned along the way. I also would encourage you to read my component essay to this video, and it is called #Superhuman. That'll all make more sense once you've read the essay, but basically, the superhumans are the people in our lives that we know are fighting a tremendous battle. Whether that battle be Lou Gehrig's disease like my father, or cancer, or AIDS, or any other biological disease out there, they are superhuman for fighting the fight that they're fighting. And every day that they are allowed to be here with us another day, every day that they take another breath is a day that they should be acknowledged by us, the people that love them, because these superhumans are fighting a battle to be here with us day in and day out, no matter how much pain it causes them to be here. I highly encourage you to take your acknowledgement of the superhuman in your life a step further and join the #Superhuman movement. Post a picture of your superhuman with the #Superhuman to your Twitter, to your Instagram, to your Facebook, and just tell us a little bit about what you love about your superhuman, what it is that you acknowledge them for. I'd love to hear about their story and yours as well. Thank you so much.